Today I'm going to continue economics chapter 2, that is sectors of Indian economy. I'll start with the topic underemployment. Now, what is underemployment? Underemployment is a situation where a person is apparently working but is made to work less than his potential. It is a hidden underemployment in contrast to someone who does not have a job. Hence, it is also called disguised unemployment. Like we can take an example, if in a field 5 people are working together, afterwards if 2 people get work in a factory and they leave that particular field. So now 3 are remaining and they are working in a field. Whatever output they are producing is same when all 5 were working in that particular field. This shows that the 2 people who left the field were disguised unemployed. Next, how more employment opportunities can be created. Now, suppose if a farmer is working in a field but having a shortage of water, means he is not having proper facilities of irrigation, tube wells and all, so he is not able to produce more. If government grants them loan at a cheaper rate, then they'll get help from this. They'll be able to improve their production, like they'll able to use the facilities like tube wells and all, and they will be able to generate more and more production. You can also construct dam also there, so that they'll be able to get more and more water and will be able to produce more. And with that more production, more employment will also be generated because they will require more labor to work in that field. After that bulk production, now there will be a requirement that bulk production should be moved from one place to another, and for that transportation facility will be required. So government can start transportation facilities giving to that particular area. With that, employment will also be generated and goods will also be moved to other places so that more income can be gained. Now, whatever bulk they have produced, all will not be used for transporting. Some they'll require to store, and for that they'll require warehouse facility. So warehouse facility can be given. It will also generate employment as guard will be required to take care of that warehouse, and they can store the bulk production also. Then after, small scale industries can be set up like cold storage, honey collection center, etc. Like whatever bulk perishable items they are producing, they can keep in cold storage and can be used for the further. Small scale industries, if are set up, then they'll generate more and more employment. Like when a farmer who was selling tomatoes, after starting his own industry, can convert those tomatoes into ketchup and can sell that ketchup in the market and can earn more income than before. So first of all, he'll be able to earn more, and secondly, more workers will be required to work, so employment will be generated. Then after, in education field also, now also many children are there who are illiterate and are working as a child labor. So there is a scope in education field also of employment generation, like many teachers, many staff can be hired and a building can be constructed. With that, employment will also be generated and the illiterate people will be able to get literacy. Then after, a area can be developed with the facilities of tourism. Two things can be done, like first of all, tourism will generate employment. Secondly, that particular area will get developed also. Government can also launch welfare schemes like providing electricity, building hospitals and all. With that, health will be improved. and for that particular thing doctors will be hired, so employment will automatically be generated and the health of the people will also get improved. The central government in India has made a law implementing the right to work for that particular purpose, that is MNREGA, Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Act 2005. Under this act, the people, especially of rural areas, who are willing to work but are not able to get work, so under this act they will get 100 days employment guarantee. And if suppose government fails to provide them with employment, they'll get 100 days unemployment allowances. Next we'll come to the topic division of sectors as organized and unorganized. First of all, we'll discuss about organized sector. Organized sectors are registered by the government, so they have to follow all the rules and regulations framed by the government, like Factories Act, Minimum Wages Act, etc. The workers working in organized sector have fixed working hours and their job is secure. They also get other benefits like paid leave, provident fund, and if suppose the workers are asked to work more than the working hours, they'll get overtime for those hours. Example of organized sector are government employees, registered industrial workers, etc. Now we'll come to unorganized sector. Unorganized sector is outside the control of the government. So they don't follow the rules and regulations framed by the government. The people working here are paid low wages and their working hours are also not fixed. And they don't get any job security. Whenever the employer will feel, he can say the workers to leave the job. And there are no other benefits like in organized sector, such as paid leave, extra payment for the overtime or medical facilities, and etc. Example of unorganized sector is shopkeeping, farming, etc. Now, how the workers in the unorganized sector can be protected? They need protection and security. Like, it is very common to find many organized sector enterprises in the unorganized sector. Why they do adopt such strategies? Because they'll get certain benefits of the unorganized sector, like they don't have to follow the rules and regulations framed by the government. They don't have to follow the Minimum Wages Act or Factories Act, so they'll get the workers at a very low salary. So government can fix the minimum wage rate and working hours in the unorganized sector too, so that the workers get protection. It is also very common to see a large number of workers, when lose their job in the organized sector, they move towards unorganized sector with very low earnings. Next, government especially in rural areas where the landless agricultural laborers, small and marginal farmers, etc. are there who need protection. So government can provide them adequate facilities for timely delivery of seeds and can even provide them loans at a cheaper rate so that they can increase their production. Then in urban areas, the unorganized sector comprises mainly of workers in small scale industry, casual workers in construction, etc. So government can help them also by supporting them for easy availability of raw materials, and afterwards marketing their output so that they can earn more. Government can also frame new laws which will provide the workers with paid leave, extra payment for the overtime. Especially the majority of the workers who work in unorganized sector are from scheduled caste, scheduled tribes and backward communities. So besides getting the irregular and low paid work, these workers face social discrimination too. So it is necessary that they get protection and support both for economic and social development. Now we'll move further. Sectors, division of sectors in terms of ownership. In terms of ownership, there are two sectors, public sector and private sector. Now what is public sector? In public sector, most of the assets are owned by the government and government only provides all the services. Example, railways, post office are the example of public sector. Now, main purpose of the public sector is not to earn profit but to provide service for public welfare. Private sector in contrast is opposite to public sector, where the assets are in the hands of private individuals or companies. For example, Tata Anand Steel Company Limited, Reliance Industries Limited, etc. So here the main motive is to earn profit. Now, what are the responsibilities of government? Now, government raises taxes to meet the expenses for construction of roads and other facilities which will be available to the public at a cheaper rate. Government also has to spend heavily for the construction of roads, generating electricity, railways, etc., to ensure that all these facilities are available to everyone, because private sector will provide all these facilities by charging heavy price which will not be affordable by all. So government will provide these facilities to everyone at a cheaper price so that everyone can enjoy these facilities. There are some other activities too where the government has to support the private sector to continue their production or business. For example, selling electricity at the cost of generation may push up the cost of production of goods in many industries. Especially small scale units might have to shut down if they will not get such facilities. So government has to step in by producing and supplying electricity at rates which these industries can afford, and the government in India buys wheat and rice from the farmers at a fair price and afterward sell those wheat and rice at a lower price to the consumer through ration shop, so that all these facilities will be available to the poor at a very low price. Next thing, the main, that is the important duty of the government, is to provide proper education facilities to the public. Government also have to pay attention to aspects of human development such as availability of safe drinking water, housing facilities for the poor, etc. So it is a basic duty to take care of the poorest and it cannot be ignored.